Welcome to my Songwriting Master Class. I'm going to teach you how to create the circumstances for songs to appear. You can be a beginner, but you must know these particular chords. You can play this back and learn some of the chords if you don't know them later. The chords are A minor, E minor, open G, C, D minor, and a special kind of F that goes like this. And that means the thumb holding down this string here. There are no bar chords allowed in my class. All popular music is rooted in folk music. The branches are nurtured by the roots. The stringed instrument is ancient, and the 6-string acoustic guitar is what you need for my class, as you need to listen to what your guitar is going to say to you, from the wood, from the tradition. And it's the Gaelic, Irish, Scots and Welsh folk songs that gave us the 4-line verse. New words for old, new lamps for old. Here's an old ballad, it's called Barbara Allen. You need to take this tune and write your new lyric. We all did this. And here's the first verse and chords. In Scarlet Town, where I was born, there was a fair maid dwelling. I fell in love with this wicked girl, and her name was Barbara Allen. To discover a new melody, one must play a series of chords and know how to listen to the single notes as they appear when one uses folk sequence chords that I am going to show you now. So, listen to the ringing of the silver strings. When you get to the E minor, pause a beat, then repeat. Okay, now we've got a sequence of chords, and they're old chords. That's always good. Now one needs a phrase. So you can find a phrase from a poem, from a magazine, or maybe a line from your songbook. And one is trying out the syllables of the phrase over the sequence of chords. Now what you're doing is you're enjoying listening to these chords, the sound. You're not trying to write a song, but you're creating the circumstances for a melody to appear. Now I chose a phrase out of a magazine, and I'm going to now do my sequence of chords, and you're going to follow me and play them with me, okay? And here goes. Time after time, time I'm hearing other lyrics coming in. Time after time, rhyme after rhyme, I'm a nomad in my heart after time. Time after time, time after time, rhyme after rhyme, I'm a nomad in my heart after time. Time after time. You understand what I mean? So, that was the 4-chord sequence, introducing a phrase. Now, it could be any phrase, because that phrase may not be the phrase that you eventually use for your song. And the reason is, you've got to have fun. So the first phrase, it's only to hear the syllables of the phrase over the 4 antique chords, and also the sound of the phrase. So one phrase may stick, and that could be the phrase for that song. But let me tell you about repetition. You have to repeat. And when you get a good groove going of those 4 chords, the repetition means that you're listening. Now, listening to those 4 chords, when I was a first songwriting young man, I would put my ear to the box because I didn't have a studio, but when you put your ear to an acoustic guitar, when you're playing the 4 sequence antique chords, you will hear beautiful sounds coming out. You have your own studio inside the wooden guitar. That's why you have to listen. But also, repetition. When you get a groove going, or when a 4-chord sequence, and you start hearing melodies, and you try that phrase, you have to repeat it. And repetition is important, and I'll tell you why. The folk singer, John Renbourn, who is an incredible guitar player in the Renaissance, British Renaissance style, he did an interview and he said he was in Bert Jansch's kitchen when I was there, and My Season of the Witch was coming, and I was playing it with my guitar buddy Sean Phillips, and later John Renbourn said in an interview, when Donovan got Season of the Witch going, he played it for 5 hours straight. Now it's time to talk to you about rhythmic patterns. Many of the would-be songwriters and guitar players that I have met, they can't keep time. They can't keep the beat of 4 beats. And now that's a big problem. So I'm going to show you something. And I'm going to show you a pattern which is called a Latin pattern. And so many songs have been written with this pattern, you have to learn it. Oh, and by the way, people love to dance. So it goes like this. Now I'm going to show you where it comes from. And you have to learn this, and you can play this back, because this is me teaching you that you have to be able to do a certain pattern on your guitar as if you're playing the bongo. Let me show you. And it's a 5-beat sequence, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you'll be able to play back this class, and get to this point. And when you get to this point, you have to practice this. If you haven't got this tempo, you haven't got a groove that people love to dance to. So once again, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you're seeing all this from here, but as I show you this sequence, you will also be able to see the chord shapes that I'm going to show you. And it's very simple because it's two of the great antique folk sequence chords, and it's in an A minor. And as I play this, you will be able to also see the chord shapes over my shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. I was fishing for emotion in the sea of loneliness. I was wishing for the motion and the waves of tenderness. I was walking down a dark street in the city of the dead when I saw you in a cafe and your hair was henna red. Now, if you write a song with this groove, I promise you, you will see the girls without partners get off their seats and move onto the dance floor. They can't help it. It's a magic groove. Well, we're coming to a close of my masterclass, but somebody asked me, before you leave your students, why don't you tell them how a couple of your popular songs appeared to you? And I said, okay. The first early part of my guitar playing, I discovered the D tuning. It was taught to me by other folk singers. That's the whole chord is an open D, and you'll see how to do it behind me on the wall. When you get something like this, like I was telling you, listening to your guitar, especially at night, lying in bed, putting your ear here, and especially on a D tuning, it's incredible. The ringing of the strings, it's a beautiful sound. And many songs have been written in D tuning, and I'll show you how you actually make chords. The basic D and G and A, you just close, open strings, 5th fret, 7. So that's the basic chords. But this kind of tuning comes from banjo. Now banjo pickers, they pick an open chord and they bring out melodies. And one day I was playing. With a flat pick, just picking melodies out of this open G. And then this song came. That's the time, that's the time I love the best. Okay, here's another one of my popular songs that appeared to me in the same tuning. I was down in New Orleans and I went down to Preservation Hall to hear all the old jazz guys. It was not a hall, it was a hut, half open to the elements. But I was in my element and I sat there and listened to this Dixieland jazz. I love Dixieland jazz. and I heard a lot of it as a boy. And when I came back to Europe, we went up to Sweden, Gypsy and I, and then there was a party after the show. It was so boring, Gypsy said, "Don, will you write a song? Get everybody to sing along." So I wrote this piece. And I went down to London again, and Mickey Mouse said, "Sunshine Superman's falling off the charts. We need another session. What have you got?" And I played him this and I played him that. I was writing 3 songs a day when I was young. It was easy. It was wonderful. It was all happening for me. It was just pouring out for me. And when it got to this song, Mickey said, "What's that yellow mellow thing?" I said, "Oh, it's just something I wrote at a party for everybody to sing along." And Mickey Mouse, the great producer, said, "That's your next single." And you know what, Don? Everybody in the world is going to want to sing along. So I remembered as I was writing it, the Preservation Hall and the Dixieland Jazz. I'm just mad about saffron. Saffron's mad about me. I'm just mad about saffron. See what you can do? She's just mad about me. They call me Mellow Yellow, quite rightly. They call me Mellow Yellow, oh yeah. They call me Mellow Yellow, oh yeah. They call me Mellow Yellow, oh yeah, oh yeah. And so my masterclass comes to a close, and I'm so pleased to have shared it with you. Get into what I'm telling you. It really is an easy thing for songs to come if you know how to create the circumstances. It's free on BMI and social everywhere around the world. And remember, it's all on an acoustic guitar. Everything comes from the acoustic guitar.